You know, it really makes us realize as a family what's important at the end of the day, that the golf is very important, but when Phil walks through the door on a Sunday, holding the trophy or not, they don't care if he shot 62 or 82. He's just daddy, and it's time to come home.
For over 2 decades, the world watched Phil Mickelson chase greatness on the golf course, but almost nobody paid attention to the woman standing quietly behind every single one of his triumphs, his wife, Amy Mickelson, and what she went through would test any marriage to its absolute limit. They met in the early 1990s when Phil was just a rising college star at Arizona State University, long before the fame, the money, and the 6 major championships, and Amy fell in love with him not as Lefty, the golf legend, but as a young man with a dream and a swing that would eventually change the sport forever. They married in 1996, right as Phil's career was exploding onto the PGA Tour, and from that moment on, Amy became the steady presence behind one of the most public careers in professional sports, raising 3 children while her husband spent weeks on the road chasing trophies. But behind the scenes, their life together was far from a fairy tale of constant winning and red carpets. In 2009, everything changed in an instant when Amy was diagnosed with breast cancer, just months after Phil's own mother was diagnosed with the same disease, and suddenly golf didn't matter at all. Phil made the decision that would define who he really was as a husband. He stepped away from the game at the peak of his career, missing tournaments, skipping practice, and putting his golf schedule on hold to be by Amy's side through surgery, chemotherapy, and the terrifying uncertainty that comes with a cancer diagnosis. He later said publicly that watching his wife fight for her life gave him a new understanding of what truly mattered, and golf, something he had dedicated his entire adult life to, suddenly felt small in comparison. Amy fought through treatment with extraordinary strength, and remarkably, made a full recovery, and Phil has credited her resilience as one of the most inspiring things he has ever witnessed. That year, at the U.S. Open, an emotional Phil said in an interview, "I'm so grateful my wife is healthy," a simple sentence that captured just how much perspective that battle had given him. Their marriage, tested by illness and years of separation due to Phil's demanding travel schedule, somehow grew stronger, not weaker, and Amy became known among golf fans as one of the most supportive spouses in the sport, regularly seen at tournaments cheering him on, especially during his most emotional victories. Fast forward to 2021, when Phil Mickelson did something no one thought was possible. At 50 years old, he became the oldest golfer in history to win a major championship, capturing the PGA Championship in a moment that brought grown men to tears. And who was there, waiting for him as he walked off that final green, tears streaming down his face? Amy. The image of them embracing after that historic win became one of the most iconic moments in modern golf, a snapshot of over 2 decades of shared sacrifice, patience, and unconditional support finally being rewarded on the world's biggest stage. But their story hasn't been without controversy either. When Phil made the polarizing decision to join Live Golf in 2022, a move that fractured relationships across the golf world and drew intense criticism, Amy stood by him publicly, even as his reputation took hits and old friends distanced themselves. Reports at the time suggested the decision put financial and emotional pressure on the family, and fans speculated endlessly about what was happening behind closed doors. But neither Phil nor Amy ever fed into the rumors or drama, choosing instead to keep their private life private, something increasingly rare in today's world of oversharing and manufactured tabloid drama. That's the real story here, not some dramatic reveal or scandal, but a marriage built on the kind of quiet resilience that doesn't trend on social media but matters far more than any headline. Amy Mickelson never needed to make some big public statement to prove her loyalty, because she already proved it during the hardest years of their life together, when cancer threatened to take everything from them and she chose to fight, and Phil chose to be there for every second of it. In a sports world obsessed with scandal and gossip, sometimes the most powerful stories are the ones that never needed a viral moment to be true. Their marriage represents something golf fans rarely get to see up close, what it actually looks like when a couple weathers fame, illness, public criticism, and decades of pressure, and comes out still standing together. So many athletes' marriages crumble under far less strain than what the Mickelsons have faced. And yet here they are, still together, still showing up for each other, decades later. That's not a headline built for clicks. That's a real testament to commitment. If this story moved you, if you found yourself surprised by how much genuine strength was behind the Mickelson story, rather than some fabricated drama, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next deep dive into the real stories behind your favorite athletes, the ones that actually matter, not the manufactured gossip that floods your feed every single day. Drop a like on this video if you believe real strength in a relationship looks like showing up during the hardest moments, not just the celebratory ones. And I want to hear from you directly, so drop a comment down below and tell me, what do you think is the hardest part about maintaining a marriage in the public eye, under that kind of constant pressure and scrutiny? Do you think Amy Mickelson deserves more recognition for what she went through, or do you think there's more to their story that hasn't been told yet? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one, and I'll see you in the next video.